Thank you.
Gas. Bella is 14 months old, and stupid, fundy Lauren is not 6 months pregnant with baby number 2 like Anna would probably already be. Like, I feel towards the end it got positive. I see where you were going, but for what reason did you have to call Lauren stupid? It's a little excessive. Okay, all the confessions about Tori being pregnant. Yeah, I was really surprised too. And at the same time, I'm like, I don't know why I was so surprised. She has said, when asked how many kids does she want, that she wants a house full, meaning she's not really putting a number on it, but it does sound like she's not going to go up to 19. And for right now, she's just letting it rock, basically, which is why we're on surprise baby number 3. It was this confession, and I want to agree. I don't know why, but when I saw it, I was like, me too. I don't know why I was. And I guess it's because of how close she's having her babies together, which it's not my business. It's not my body. So I have no right to say that. What else is she doing except, I'm sure, finding a lot of joy and fulfillment right now in being a mother for me to even like have that opinion. So I don't know. I just kind of am though, I guess, because they're just so like back to back. And again, it's interesting though, because also, I want to say Erin technically had her babies really close together too, and so did Alyssa, but I guess it wasn't as close, and it doesn't feel like it was as close, I guess, because I want to say by the time everybody's announced, their babies have been at least 1, and for both of Tori's pregnancies now at this point, her babies have been less than a year old, and that's why it's just kind of, surprising, I guess, and like the disappointing. I hate to say disappointing, because it's still exciting. It's still a wonderful thing. The same can be said about Kendra. But I guess because, again, also that we have such a more harsh perspective on the Duggars, that it seems appropriate to just kind of be like, well, we're not shocked, like, and when they've said we're going to have as many kids as God gives us, whereas Tori hasn't said that. Again, we just have this more commercial, most of the debates kids say that they want about 5. I want to say most like 5 or 6. It's like their max. We see Alyssa with her 4 saying she's done. Erin probably isn't going to have any more children at this point. So, and I just can't see right now Josie having more than 5 or 6. I don't see Carlin having more than 5 or 6. I don't see Katie having a really big family because her current boyfriend doesn't come from a big family, and yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, it is kind of surprising. The only thing I have to say about this is that like half of them wouldn't have been born. So yeah, their life would have been dramatically different. Dramatically. I just feel like very few people are just going to decide no religion, no anything based. I'm just going to have as many kids as God gives me. For the most part, it tends to be based in religion or else some kind of like cultural aspect, or, you live somewhere where you don't have access to birth control, you don't have the knowledge about natural family planning. It would have been interesting though if they hadn't been raised Christian. I feel like Jana's life would have been very different. Ginger as well, for sure. Like, I wonder what careers they would have done. If they would have done careers, they might have been a little Mrs. Midwest, and they're actually from the Midwest. Not like her fake ass. I'm sorry, it was an easy one. Oh, except for this one, I would love it if they did like a vlog series or something like that, where they talk about each of their pregnancies, what it was like, the morning sickness, what symptoms they had, what complications they had, what was the birth like. I think that would be so interesting. I loved when Jessa did her series about her birth stories. I think that was so interesting, and because it gave a lot of the details that you don't see on the camera. Like let's be real about what goes on in pregnancy, what goes on in labor, what goes on post giving birth, what your postpartum process was like, if you ripped at any time, what did that feel like, having to get a C-section, what was that like, etc. And I just feel, I don't get why they don't be honest about that kind of thing. I don't want to say honest, but just kind of more open and discuss that. You can talk about all those things and it still be a blessing. People, clearly, women all over the world have kids and keep having them even after things happen to them. So I feel like it'd be cool for them to share that experience. Like, you had 19 kids. And whoever this is, I'm so sorry. Everybody says the first trimester is your worst trimester. It's the most difficult. Second is the best. And then the third is like, oh my God, when is the baby gonna be born? I don't know, I have no kids. Keeping it that way. God, please. I wouldn't have guessed this from them redoing the room that she was pregnant. But you were right. Everybody thought so though, I think, that she was pregnant again. I mean, it makes sense. She wants 8 kids. Gotta get that rolling while you are fertile, okay? She's 28. About to be 28. She's 28. So, but even though clearly from what we have seen from little old Miss Caldwell, you can be in your 40s and still fertile as hell. Nothing wrong with it. I do think though having a new baby is just going to invite even more of these critiques of how small their house is. She has said in past videos, or in a past video, that she wants to like build out on her house. So nobody ever hears that stuff. They only ever hear the things that they want to hear about her house, that I think she acknowledges having, due to the fact that she lives there, that it's kind of a small house, you know? But they own it. So that's the difference. They own it. There's plenty of room to like grow. They have so many people who can help them to expand it. And yeah. This one, reading people's comments, I was like, oh my God, pregnancy just sounds awful. Not awful, but like just really, really scary. Like, there are a lot of symptoms that people really do not talk about. And I couldn't imagine having like a bunch of pregnancies and that ruining like your bladder and making it weak. Like, that's really scary. Is that, nobody thinks that's scary? If any of y'all have had a baby, like, is your bladder different? I might ask my mom. Actually, she has problems with her bladder, but I don't know if those are related to having the 3 children who she did not have close together. So I don't know. So these confessions about Ben being thick, having an ass. I think the joke that they meant here was,
girl, you're thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
There's a lot of confessions about Joe also having a booty, so it's a little weird. I'm gonna start looking at both of them now, though. Ben works out, so I'm assuming it's a workout booty. It's really weird that y'all look at this stuff, judging you. And just for these posts, I hope your wombs are blessed for many moons. I hope you are good people who are gonna raise wonderful people, like little people, and just never give up. I saw a YouTuber who had 15 years of infertility and now is 37 weeks pregnant. So not to give up, it's just everybody's story with fertility is different. And again, like I said, if you haven't watched the Netflix Explained on fertility, to go ahead and watch that. Not these people who are struggling. If you're struggling with fertility, I'm sure you've been speaking to doctors and stuff, but other people, like, just to kind of get an idea about that and just to be a little bit more compassionate, that it's just, and that's what, like, watching that is also kind of why it sucks to be in like a fertility cult type thing, because we have no way of saying it. And that's why it's another reason why it's a bad thing to try and force women to think that your entire purpose is to have children, because some people can't. Some men can't, you know, some women can't, you know. Imagine enduring a lot of painful miscarriages, Aaron, right? So, and to take that narrative instead of saying like, oh, that this is what makes giving birth more precious and makes me more aggressively pro-life, instead of being more sympathetic to people who can't have children, who don't see being a mother as their only life purpose, is sick, more or less. I mean, I could say a lot about Aaron. I might save it for the episode we do again about COVID, because just how their politics are so messed up to the point now she'll probably never be able to have another baby because she didn't take seriously. But again, for these people, really praying for you. So first of all, this one, I cried because one who thinks of this, and yes, you're 100% right. Like, so funny. I'm going to do a couple more confessions that were submitted in December, but they posted in January just because I wanted to talk about them, and I'm not going back to December to do all of those ones. I thought it was super annoying that in every pic taken at her friend's wedding, Alyssa accentuated her bump to show it off when the focus should have been on the bride, not her. One, that's just stupid. I just feel like this is just stupid confession. I don't know how that would be taking attention from the bride. That's weird. She's pregnant. She shouldn't have gone to the wedding then. Like, that's just how pregnant women pose. Also, it's a natural, normal place to put your hand. But it was this confession that bothered me. I went into like a back and forth with this girl, and I was like, you know what? Let me stop, okay? Let me stop. And she was like, I have always hated the baby bump pose because people didn't used to do that. But now it's just as popular as the hand on the hip chicken wing pose. I don't care how somebody posed at a wedding or anywhere. I just personally think it's one of those most eye-rolling poses, LOL. So posing with like your hand on your bump is a trend. So just in general, the idea of like photography is pretty new if we really think about it. That people are able to like easily access it for themselves is also pretty relatively new. So the idea that poses can be trending, very, very real, but it's weird that you're finding it annoying. Like, I mean, if you look at old photos, the side profile, it was a huge thing. Like, that's not something that we do traditionally in photos anymore, is to take a profile pic. You know what I mean? Like, when we talk profile pic, we're talking about like our Instagram Avi, we're talking our like Twitter Avi. Like, we're like change your profile photo, but it's not like taking your picture profile. And like, that was really such a huge trend back in the day, all right? People used to not smile in photos. Do you understand how that's kind of relatively new? The idea of like, you're gonna smile for a photo, and it's still like a weirdly like unmasculine thing to smile in photos. At least I know like they make that joke that like black dads, black men, or just dads in general don't really smile for photos. So yeah, those things are trending, but also like there used to be this kind of level of shame in terms of like, I don't want to say shame, but like pregnancy almost being indecent or immodest. So to be at a point where people proudly want to accentuate their bumps and to say like it's corny, I just feel like, God, how much body policing must we endure as women? Like, that for even you as a woman to like be like, I think it's a stupid eye-rolling pose. Like, and one of her defenses was that like, no, I spoke to my aunt and she was like, yeah, it's relatively new. But I mean, you can track this back at least like at this point now, 20, 30 years, like, yeah, that is a pose that people take. Because again, this idea of not having to be, of a pregnant body not being indecent. Again, I'm probably making it more deep, but it's because almost like I feel like sometimes you have to like take this kind of negative thinking out of your like mind. Like, why is this an eye-rolling pose? Like, do you want to be proud of your belly, to be proud to be pregnant? Like, it's just very disturbing and strange to me. Again, like the little ways that we internalize hating ourselves and hating others, that to pose and be proud. Like, imagine if Alyssa had been the kind of person who struggled for 15 years to get pregnant. And then for you to say like, oh, how stupid is it for you to pose with your hand accentuating your bump? Like, why can't you be proud that you're pregnant or excited, or that it makes you look better as a pregnant woman to pose that way? Like, it's just very, very bizarre, this natural desire to just police our bodies and other people's bodies. And she was just like, oh, you just wanted to argue with me. I was just stating my opinion. Sometimes your opinions are stupid. Sometimes your opinions are like a little bit uneducated. Like, they're opinions that you should keep to yourself, because I just feel people in general always think, even though I just have spent the last 20 minutes giving my opinion, but it's because it's just regular stuff. And I feel there are certain topics you actually should have a little bit of an education on before you start just giving your opinion, like without a crystal ball. Like, there should be a little bit of education, a little bit of research with facts before you start just giving your opinions on freaking Jill and Ginger having an argument, like, or having some kind of beef, or that what are their names? Joy and Carlin are excluding Lauren from whatever, hanging out or something like that. Like, no. Some things you really should like do a little bit of research. Like, just think about them before you say them, or really like contemplate in your mind, like think really deep right in here. Just why do I think that's stupid? Why do I have this opinion? Like, I feel like everybody should, you know? This was just funny. I want to find this episode because, one, have we ever seen her wear it? And two, this ring does look, in fact, hideous. It's the thought that counts. And also, I think they were only on, like, what, Kid 12? I mean, for this, I feel you should get blocked if you're saying something really wild. You know, like, not all of them is just criticisms of, like, their politics and religion. Like, somebody commented under a picture of Alyssa's daughter, and she has, like, the Bates dad ears, like the ears that Callie has and a few of the other siblings, and was like, those poor ears, she's gonna have to get surgery to get them pinned back or something like that. Like, why would you say that about a child, a 1-year-old at that? That's weird. You should get blocked for that. Like, that's disrespectful to come and call a child ugly, basically. Like, that's so strange that you would take that time out of your day, that you would have the thought, then form your fingers to type it and hit send and think that it's okay. And I think it's because people think they won't see it, or that, you know, this is a famous person and so they should be able to handle this kind of criticism. You have to imagine these people in their regular everyday lives at home where they live. Nobody recognizes them and comes up and asks for photos, like, most likely, you know? So how cruel that is, just to come on the internet out of nowhere and say somebody's baby is ugly, has huge ears or something like that. And I think, on a side tangent, like, Zoe is so cute. So to say that, and I think it's cool to see how family genetics work, that Alyssa doesn't really have ears like that, I don't think, but her child still inherited that from her father. Like, I think that's a beautiful thing, again, how the craziness of how genetics work. So sometimes I do think it's appropriate when y'all get blocked because you are out of pocket and you can't see it, and some of y'all are. You already know how I feel about him. Yes. Yes. Him and Ben's dad, it's giving DILF. Okay, maybe not that far, but still. Paternity Court is my favorite show. Actually, is one of my favorite shows. So I would love this Paternity Court episode. But those kids look way too much like him. It was somebody in the comments saying, on a very special Maury. Could you imagine? Oh my god. Hilarious. Definitely Jessa's gonna homeschool. Definitely Joy is gonna homeschool. The only way I could see her not homeschooling is if she becomes more Jill-like, and I kind of doubt that's gonna happen. Yeah, Kendra's not going to, duh. Anna's not going to, duh. Correct, I should say. I shouldn't say duh. Abby, I guess. I mean, I could see that, you know. But I feel, what else is she doing? If she wanted to go back to work, I could see that maybe happening. They have so much help with these kinds of things that I can't see why they wouldn't just still outsource basically their homeschooling experience. Ginger, I could see that. But again, also, what is Ginger really doing that she couldn't homeschool? You know what I mean? People might say that about Jill, but Jill has a small child at home still. I feel like we are going to get Jill pursuing something. I just don't see that for Ginger right now. So if y'all disagree, that's just my opinion. Lauren, I think, is an interesting take, that you think that she would put her child in school. I don't think so. But that's interesting perspective. All right, somebody else. Oh, and the Bates. Okay. I think Alyssa might try it out. I agree. Whitney is already homeschooling. She's going to keep homeschooling, in my opinion. Bates, who would never do that. Tori, nope. She's already admitted that. Homeschooling all the way. If I can find it, I'll insert that clip. Erin, duh. Girl who might be undecided. Carlin, no. Carlin's going to homeschool. I have a hard time believing that she would enroll her kids at a public school, because I think Evan also was homeschooled. And they have, again, so much help with this at this point. There's so much example for them that it would be, I'm sure it's not that hard in the sense of how it can be hard for other people. But I do think, I would never say public school, but maybe private school. I could see, since like Katie is dating somebody who went to private schools, parents run a private school, that maybe some of them might be open to putting their kids in a private school versus doing homeschooling. We'll see how the next couple of years go. And so again, for this, like, Ben I really hate the narrative that Ben does not work. Like, could he have been in school? Jeez, like, we are always calling these people uneducated adults. The one time somebody decides to go to college, all of a sudden, all right, so where's your job? Like, And that one, Jessa's making money off Instagram. So there's that. I think that they pay him also for the lessons that he gives at their house for homeschooling. She's always the one who's doing these little projects. And also, again, what else are they doing? I feel like we are underestimating how bored they might be. I think because we think about how much work kids take, you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right. But could you imagine that is the only thing that you do every day? Like, I'm sure that there are things that she has to come up with to like just feel a little bit more like satisfied. Like, you're in that environment all the time. Like, it's different. Imagine, like, I can only assume how many DIY projects, redecorating that happened during 2020 because you were in your house for so much time compared to previously. So you kind of just makes you itch. I moved my furniture around. Like, just having to look at it all the time and wanting to change it. Whereas he's working outside the house. He's going to school, like X, Y, and Z. I don't even know. I just feel like it's so weird all the time that we have this narrative that Ben doesn't have a job, one. And that it's weird that she would be doing all of this construction. Like, duh, she knows how to do it. Like, why wouldn't you just do it? You know what I mean? But, yeah. All right, to close this out. Actually, I'm lying. This isn't to close this out. A lot of the Duggar children look like the Baby Grinch in a cute way. I just like this because I love the Baby Grinch. I think the Baby Grinch is so cute. Like, a lot of people don't think it's cute, but I think it's so cute. Yeah, this one really got to me because I think about this sometimes too. I mean, how much does that kind of suck to like really have a very narrow, like, at what point do you realize, you know, the world is not your oyster? It's just kind of sad that these are extremely privileged children in a sense, and they'll never get to really experience the fullness of that in terms of saying, like, I have my own autonomy to do whatever it is in my heart that I feel like God wants me to do. You know, like, even the boys, like, it's weird that you don't encourage them to go to school. Like, it's weird. And that these are the only ways to really make money. But anyways, that's it. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Share, subscribe. So if you have watched at this point to this long, thank you. Please subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.